Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing right now? All your foundation sessions related to understanding the proper structuring everything of the mains answers has been completed. Now today is the class where you are going to learn its application. Okay, not a test, not a hurdle, just a practice session that is going to ensure that whatever you have read is going to be applied. Am I audible? Am I audible? Okay, most of the people are saying I'm audible. Okay, chalo. So, introduction, body, conclusion, presentation, structuring, brainstorming, everything has been sorted till now. Okay. And now we are entering into the application phase where we are going to learn how to write real-time answers. Okay. The today's session is going to be focused upon GS1. The first practice session is going to be for GS1. And we are going to analyze each and every subjects that are part of your GS1 syllabus. Okay. So without further ado, we are going to start. But let's be very clear. If you do not know the content, your focus should be on applying whatever structures, whatever we had learned in the brainstorming. At least you should reproduce the structures there. Okay. Chalo, let's start. The first question is discuss the role of geographical factors in the development of ancient India. Okay. I'm giving you 1 minute to study the question and generate the proper structure of this question. And your 1 minute is going to start now. Start on writing on your A4 sheet the structure that you want. What are the ingredients that you want in this particular answer? Start writing. Not the answer, but the structure. Last 20 seconds. Last 5 seconds. Time up. Time's up. Okay. Now, do tell me, we have discussed this particular type of question. Do tell me, what is the type of this question? What is the type? Is it a very clear, explicit question with a very one single implicit demand? It is very simple. Directive followed by a explicit part of the question. Okay? So directive and explicit. Okay? Do tell me what is the topic of the question? What is the topic of the question? We had discussed this in the structuring part. What is that topic? Geographical factors for development of ancient India. Looking like a very big topic, but once you write the introduction, you can very easily decode this. Now do tell me the demand of the question. What are the demands of the question? Geographical factors. Okay. Is the explicit demand very clearly saying how geographical factors ensure development of ancient India? Is it so? Are they saying that? Is it a yes or is it a no? Okay. Is there any implicit demand here? Okay, I got it. Is there any implicit demand here? Other factors, some people are saying other factors for development. Okay, that can be implicit demand. That can be one implicit demand. Can there be another kind of implicit demand where geographical factors are hindering the development of ancient India? Can this also be the demand? Can this be the demand? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So, geographical factors hindering the demand of India, hindering the development of ancient India. Right? So, this is the entire decoding of the body part. Conclusion: always write on positive note. Can you write a contemporary relevance based conclusion that geographical factors still determine the development of present society? Yes or no? Yes. Superb. Okay. Present development. Is this going to be the entire structure? Yes. Superb. Now let's understand for the presentation part. What exactly should we do for the presentation part? I have told you, you have to enrich, get an extra mark, half or extra mark here. What should be our focus? For presentation in this question, role of geographical factors in the development of ancient India. Just a second. Acha, now tell me, those who are finding it difficult in the audio part, now is it more clear? There was some technical issue. Now is it more clear? Chalo, superb, superb, superb. Chalo. Where were we? We were focusing upon using what is the type of presentation that can enrich the content. Okay? Can we say it is a map of India? The geographical map of India? Yes. So, geographical map of India, that too not taking a lot of space. Okay? 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 I'm not very good at drawing on the board, so pardon me for that. Okay? Now tell me, what are the geographical factors that are going to be important in ensuring the development? Do tell me. Do tell me what are the geographical factors? Is this going to be a very important factor? Your coastline, is this going to be a very important factor? So, number one factor is coastline. Okay. Is this going to be a very important factor? The Himalayan ranges. Are all the rivers going to be very important that are coming, kind of making a confluence? So, rivers are going to be an important factor. The rivers are forming something here. Okay? The rivers are forming something here. What is this? Do tell me. What is this? Superb. These are northern plains formed by having alluvial soil, which are super fertile. Okay. Now do tell me, is there Western Ghats here? Yes, Western Ghats are here. Western Ghats have breaks. Western and Eastern Ghats have lot of gaps in between them, passes between them. Western Ghat has few, Eastern Ghat has a lot. So are these going to be favorable for dockyards, trading? Yes or no? Yes? Yeah, escarpments. Okay, carpets are there. So are they going to be favorable for having the dockyards, trading? Yes? Do tell me, the Chota Nagpur plateau wala part, that plateauic part, is it going to be having a lot of minerals? Minerals that determine the next age, like iron. Iron age is the age of civilization. ठीक है, wave of civilization. Bronze age is the age of civilization, right? Are mountains going to be very important in terms of ensuring climatic conditions, right climatic conditions, and also acting as a barrier from foreign invasion? Yes or no? Yes. ठीक है. Are forests going to be very important? Forest ensuring tribal isolation, that ensures the diverse ancient society. Along with the mainstream society, the tribals are going to be remaining isolated, ensuring the diversity of ancient society. Okay. Are forests going to ensure that Gurukul culture, Gurukul system, knowledge transfer, you can call it indigenous knowledge development? Yes. Indigenous knowledge development, forests play a very big role. Yes. Superb. Okay. So think about the rivers, think about the minerals, think about the Himalayan barrier, think about the coastline, and think about the forests. Are these going to play the pivotal role in the development of ancient India? The river is connected, interconnected system of rivers ensured that the Mauryan civilization could swiftly move their army from one place to another, because it was at the nerve center where the different rivers are coming from the south, going to the coming from the north, going to the south, just like that. Okay, so that also ensured that armies can be moved swiftly. So warfare was also determined by this. Yes, right. Okay. Now tell me, acha, do you want to? So some of you who have not written it down, you can take a screenshot. Okay. Okay. Now do tell me, are there going to be other factors? that ensured the development of ancient India, right? So some other factors are going to be related to political ones. Other ones, tell me. Other economic ones. ठीक है? Foreign invasion ones. ठीक है? That ensured the development of ancient India. ठीक है? The foreign invaders ensured that India becomes a very globalized multicultural society. ठीक है? This is not, I'm not telling this in terms of like counting this as a contribution. I'm counting this as the part of development of the ancient India. ठीक है? Now do tell me the hindrance caused by the geographical factors. Just 2 points. Just 2 points I want. I do not have a lot of space. Just 2 points I want. Don't have a lot of space. Tell me. Hindrance. Climate. Superb. Climate में droughts. Floods. It is said that the Indus Valley civilization was buried under a flood. Although it's not very well proven, but it is one of the reasons, of the multiple reasons for the destruction of Indus Valley civilization. Floods is one of the very important reasons. Apart from that, cultural exchange. Okay, deserts and all you can write. Okay. Can you write that geographical divide became a political divide? And that is why whenever India was invaded from the foreign side, okay, invaded from the foreign rulers, it was not a integrated India. Can you say it? Yes, there was Vindhyan divide. Here, there was a Vindhyan divide that led to the southern and northern sides to remain divided. So India was never, in sense, India never became a nation in itself, despite having a terrific geography. Okay, all the factors required for development and integrated development was there. But Vindhyan, you can write the example of Vindhyan divide. Okay. In conclusion, you can write down one of the contemporary relevance. Give me a, like, tell me if you are clear with this question. Tell me if you are clear with this question. Okay. Superb. Superb. Chalo. Are we going to do this question on our own? Are you ready to write this question on our own? Because Sufi movement I have discussed in one of the classes. Are you ready to discuss this? Critically analyze the success of Sufi Bhakti movements in building a composite society. I'm setting up a timer again of 1 minute so that you can quickly draw down the structure. Start. And the time's up. Should we start? What is the type? What is the type? Directive followed by explicit demand. What is the topic? Topic: Sufi Bhakti movement. This is the topic. I have told you, once you decode the topic, you are free to write what part of your answer. Topic decoding leads to write what part of your answer? Tell me. Superb. Introduction. Okay. So your introduction is fairly clear. Okay. Now do tell me the demands. What is going to be the explicit demand? Superb, superb, superb. First of all, accept the whatever statement, whatever explicit demand given in critically analyze, accept it. Yes, Sufi Bhakti movement was successful. Okay. Successful how? And how, what were the consequences? Or you can write achievements, their methods, their features, and how did they lead to the particular achievements. Okay. Now do tell me the implicit demand. Cause and effect. Yes, but cause and effect के बाद in critically analyze, what more do we write? Can we write its limitations? Can we write its limitations? Right? Now, in critically analyze wala directive, there is one more thing that you can write after the cause and effect and limitations. There is one more thing to write. What is that? Apart from limitations, one more thing to write. Tell me, way forward. One of the toppers who scored 118 or 120 in 2024, the UPSC topper, 120 marks in GS1, used to do this. Whenever the historical questions come, he was not writing way forward. Whenever they came with analytical directive word, he was not writing way forward. What was instead he was writing? Instead, he was writing what? Can you think of what is more suitable here than way forward? What is more suitable here? Significance, okay. Failure. Apart from failure, you have already written limitations. Superb, Shruti. Superb. Contemporary relevance. Okay. How exactly the Sufi Bhakti movements remain relevant in the present society? Now you understand, because these are socio-religious reformist movements, and in present society or any society, reforms is going to be relevant, especially in social and religious fields. So find the rhythm of the question, okay? Feel the rhythm of the question and kind of innovate then and there. I am telling you, answer writing is 90%, you already know there. Okay, even 95%. 5% you will innovate in the examination hall, and that is the innovation that I was talking about. Contemporary relevance. Okay, he used to write in 3-4 questions contemporary relevance, got superb marks. Okay. Okay. Can we write the factors for success of movement? That is why written na how. How is what? You are going to write the factors na how exactly it was succeeding. Okay. Now, so introduction will be fairly simple. You are going to talk about what were these movements. Going to answer what? So basically, a definition or explanation wala part. ठीक है? If you want, since it's a history question, you can always give the historical context also. You can use a map. You can always use a map to show the like spread of these particular movements. ठीक है? All you can use the map. If it's a 15 marker, you can always use the map. ठीक है? Now do tell me, you are going to write down the features or factors. ठीक है? And then you are going to write down the achievements. Is it so? You are going to write like this. ठीक है? What were the features and how did it lead to the achievements? ठीक है? Time period can also be used. Okay? Some of the features you can write. What were the features? Tell me. Of Sufi and Bhakti movements. What were they specifically talking about? Superb. Religious harmony. Reforms. ठीक है? Opposition to orthodoxy. Whether it is social or religious. It was a clear-cut opposition. ठीक है? Personalization of religion. Shared cultural traditions. Shared cultural traditions. ठीक है? Can you write down their achievements? ठीक है? Can you write down your achievements? How exactly they created a very religious syncretism? Okay? How exactly the reforms led to the change in the status and they led to the women empowerment. A lot of the people call the Bhakti movement as the first wave of feminism. ठीक है? Bhakti movement as the first wave of feminism. Okay? Opposition to orthodoxy led to the relaxation in the religious beliefs. ठीक है? The Brahmanical orthodoxy was relaxed to some extent. Okay? Then personalization of religion. This prevented the intermediary. It was the DBT of its time. You can call it, it was the direct benefit transfer of its time, where the intermediary, which was either the priest or the Maulvi or the father, whosoever it was, ठीक है? That in India, it was acting as a DBT, ठीक है? Where the people's devotion, love and dedication towards the deity, towards their God was a direct relation, a personal relation. Yes. Shared cultural traditions, that Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb that we talk about, that Indo-Islamic culture architecture that we talk about, ठीक है? That Sarv Dharma Sambhav that we talk about, all are coming up from the socio-religious reformist movements that were sown by the Bhakti and Sufi movements. Okay? Now, if you want, you can write down some of the things or take the screenshot. Now, are there some limitations? Was it followed by masses? The answer is no. Were lot of the sects of Bhakti and Sufi movement were dependent upon royal patronage. They were dependent upon the royal funding. So they were not representatives of the citizens, not the representatives of the Praja, but Raja. Yes? Okay. Now, do tell me other things. Were they united in their approach? The answer was not. They were not united in their approach. What more can you think about? Superb. Economic redistribution. Okay. Sporadic is the right word. They were very sporadic. And that is where you can draw the map. The best place to draw the small map is showing that the Bhakti and Sufi movements were very sporadic. Yes? Chalo. ठीक है. Other things you can think about. Can you write down now the contemporary relevance? In terms of the social, religious reforms that are required in the society, in terms of opposing the majoritarianism, in terms of opposing the religious extremism, radicalization, right? In terms of the God-man Baba culture. Yes. So they can be a second wave of socio-religious reforms in a society that is getting more and more restricted. Okay? Okay, nice. Okay, nice. Contemporary relevance, you can think of that. Think in terms of social, religious, okay, little bit political also. How the political representatives should not be using social and religious divides to social and religious diversity to divide the society. Okay, so there can be used. Chalo. Now the next question. Nice attempt, Vikyat. Swadeshi movement played a major role in India's freedom struggle. Discuss. Evaluate its relevance in contemporary times. I just want the breakdown from you. I want this answer to be written by all of you to be submitted at the Convertize portal for evaluation. Okay? I am not going to discuss the entire answer in detail. I'm just going to give you the breakdown. Now the timer comes. Now your structuring starts. Last 20 seconds. Last 5 seconds. Time's up. Do tell me. I do not want to write anything here. I'm just giving the index here. What should be your approach? Everything has to be done by you. Tell me the type. Is it first the statement came? Swadeshi movement played a major role in India's freedom struggle. Okay. Then the directive word came. Then again, starting with the directive word, but the explicit demand came. The relevance in contemporary times. So you can call it the explicit demand came. But the explicit demand has a directive word. which is analytical. Okay. Now, what is the topic? Topic is very fairly clear. It is, you guys have written this, Swadeshi movement, right? Now, tell me the structure. Tell me the different demands, not the structure, demands. There are certain demands here. Swadeshi movement played a major role in India's freedom struggle. You are going to accept the statement and show how. Yes, address the statement. How exactly it played the major role in India's freedom struggle. Yes. ठीक है. What about explicit demand? Discuss. Okay. Let's leave that. It's relevance in contemporary times. ठीक है. So statement is clear. Its relevance in present times. Contemporary means present. Are you going to write something like this? Yes. Now comes the twisted part. Discuss, it has said. Swadeshi movement played a major role in India's freedom struggle. Now do tell me, with this discuss keyword, is there any implicit demand here, a hidden demand here? Yes, there were limitations. It was not completely successful. Yes. Now do tell me, is there any implicit demand in this particular last part? Evaluate its relevance in contemporary times. Is there any implicit demand? What did I tell you in terms of what when we use the evaluate directive word? Evaluation किसका होता है? What is being evaluated? Your copies get evaluated. ठीक है? By the examiner, your copies are getting evaluated, right? So evaluator gives you two types of feedback. Number one, whatever you have written, the good points are highlighted, achievements are highlighted. ठीक है? But number two, it is going to show the scope of improvement. ठीक है? Scope of improvement here. ठीक है? Or in this case, here I am telling you scope of improvement is associated with the evaluate part. But this is a history based question. In the historical context, we are saying something happened in history. It is relevant for present times. How can we modify this scope of improvement? How can we modify this? What will be the most appropriate subheading here? Can we write lessons for contemporary times? Is it a yes or is it a no? Can we write lessons for contemporary times? Yes? Superb. Okay. Now, how many of you are going to write these answers and get this particular answer and get it evaluated? How many of you? Superb. Okay. Those who are having doubts, na, you can ask in the comment section. I will address it in between or at the end of the session. Okay. You can write your doubts. Chalo. Let's quickly move to the next question. Explain the. Now the history part is over. History gone. Okay. Now geography starts. A difficult question, a very basic but difficult question. Now let us see how most of you are going to counter this. If you have not read this, just learn here. Okay? Try learning here. No need to be becoming like an expert here. Okay? Just learn. Okay? If you have read this, this is a moment of test, moment of like testing yourself, examining yourself. Now I'm setting the timer. Break down the structure. Break it down. Last 10 seconds. Time's up. Hmm. Do tell me what are the major factors involved here. Do tell me the first of all structure of the answer. What is going to be the structure of the answer? ठीक है. First of all, type is fairly clear. Type is going to be explain the onset of monsoon. ठीक है. So directive word came integrated with the explicit part and then again explicit part. ठीक है. तो explicit part 1 and explicit part 2. ठीक है. The question is fairly simple. It is not going into any implicit demand here. There is not a single implicit demand in this question. This is fairly clear. Type is clear. Topic is, can we call it monsoon only? Because onset of monsoon, you have to explain yourself. Can we call the monsoon as the topic? Monsoon in India as the topic? Yes. Good. Okay. Now demand. What are the explicit demands? First of all, you have to explain the entire mechanism, okay, of onset of monsoon in India. Okay? Entire mechanism has to be explained. Now, second one is major factors. Okay? Major factors that determine its success. Okay? Intro में, can you talk about the nature of monsoon winds? What is the nature of monsoon winds? Do tell me. What is their nature? Think. Superb. You guys are very good in terms of giving the gist. I don't know how exactly are you writing right now, but some of you guys are doing exceptional in terms of mentioning the very accurate keyword that is required in the answer. These are seasonal reversing winds. Okay, reversal winds. These are seasonal winds that get reversed as the season ends. Okay. Okay. Someone is saying factors for weak monsoon can be this implicit demand. Explain the directive is, what are the major factors determining its success? Okay. If you want to write this, you can write this, but I'm sure that the examiner is not going to reward any marks because the demand is fairly explicit. What are the major factors determining its success? Okay. If you want to write down the factors of limitation, you can write it then and there. Okay. In the factors, both limiting factors can be written. Like you want to write El Nino, if let us say, you can write El Nino, La Nina. Okay. Both can be written there. I hope you understand. Okay. Now, onset of monsoon. Onset of monsoon. Tell me, is there low pressure here? is there low pressure here in the northwestern part of India and the Tibetan Plateau during the summer time? First of all, understand low pressure gets created due to extreme heat. Okay? High temperature leads to low pressure because the warm air starts moving up. And as the air starts moving up from the ground, you are going to feel low pressure there. Okay? So, Tibetan Plateau and northwestern part of India is going to be very heated. Why northwestern part? Desert region. Okay? Landlocked region. Okay, so northwestern part is going to be very heated. Okay, plus subtropical part also, plus subtropical part, and subtropical high is going to be one such issue. Now this is, let us say, Africa. Okay, is there any source of high pressure there in the southern Indian Ocean? Is there any source of high pressure? Yes or no? It is called mascarene high. Okay? Why exactly there is high pressure? Do tell me. Why exactly is there high pressure? What is the temperature required for high pressure? You guys are writing, some of you guys are doing good but giving wrong answers. Yes, it is going to be cold temperature. The reason for high pressure is two reasons, very simple. You have read the convergence and divergence of winds. Okay? In the equatorial region, the convergence happens. That is why there is ITCZ here. Okay? In between somewhere, the ITCZ is here. Okay? Intertropical convergence zone. Okay? So convergence here happens somewhere near the equator. Okay? What happens during the summer? It moves northwards. It moves northwards. Okay? Because the convergence is happening now at the upper side. First thing first. Okay? So intertropical convergence zone is moving northwards. First thing first. Okay? Now the westerly winds were also there. Okay? The westerlies come from the western part. Okay? The west to India, the westerlies come from the European and the Central Asian part. Okay? These are coming, the westerlies. They also shift northwards. Okay? They also move northwards. Okay? Now there is one south eastern trade winds. Yes, southeastern trade winds that are coming from the southern hemisphere. Okay? Southeastern trade winds are coming from the southern hemisphere. What happens here is the Coriolis force attracts them towards the equator. They will start getting attracted towards the equator. Okay? They will start moving rightwards. Okay? And that is what gives birth to the southwestern monsoon winds. I'm again going to repeat myself. The southeastern trade winds are coming. Okay? Now they are going to be attracted by the Coriolis force towards the equator. They cross the equator, move rightwards due to the Coriolis force because it continues to attract them. And inter-India get divided into two branches, move towards the low pressure. Yes or no? Do you understand this? Getting attracted by the Coriolis force, crossing the equator because there is low pressure there. Okay? Crossing the equator and then getting divided into two branches. First branch is Arabian Sea branch. This is Arabian Sea branch and this is Bay of Bengal branch. Do you understand this? Yes or no? Do you understand this? I'm not able to yes? Superb. Okay? Now, this is the mascarene high. This is going to push these southwestern winds because winds or air move from high pressure towards low pressure. ठीक है? So high pressure to low pressure, this is going to push the southeastern trade winds. They are going to become southwestern monsoon winds. Why they are called southwestern monsoon winds? Because they are coming from the south and western direction of India. For India, they are coming from south and western direction. Okay? They are coming from this. This is south, this is west. So it will be called southwestern monsoon winds in terms of Indian geography. Right? Okay. So now they are getting supported by the mascarene high. Is there any role of jet streams also? Are the jet streams also involved? If you have not studied it, no worries. You can ask me in the end. I can tell you the entire thing briefly. Okay? Is there the role of jet stream here? There is a jet stream involved here. What is the name of this jet stream? Do tell me. The name of this jet stream is Somali jet. Somali jet is going to push this particular winds. This jet stream is going to push this particular winds towards the Indian low pressure. Okay. So Somali jet stream is going to be a very determining factor. Okay. Also, are there going to be some other jet streams also? Are there going to be some other jet streams also which are going to push the winds towards the India? Other jet stream is superb. This is tropical easterly and this is Somali jet. Okay, tropical easterly and Somali jet both are going to play a very pivotal role in terms of onset of monsoon. Tropical easterly is fairly important in the break of monsoons. The little bit like 4 or 5 days, 1 week of continuous rainfall that is pushed by the tropical easterly. Okay? That break of monsoon comes due to the tropical easterly. Okay? Nice. Burst of monsoon. Sorry. Burst of monsoon. There is two parts, burst and break. That burst of monsoon comes due to tropical easterly. Give me a thumbs up if you can explain this, if you can now understand the onset of monsoon. The question is a 10 marker. You will draw a small map. Okay? You can draw a small map, not a very big map, or you can pick this much side and draw a fairly like medium size map and write down the arguments on the left side. Okay? Write down the arguments on the left side. The question is a 10 marker, but here is the challenge. In geography, the 10 marker questions are very big to write. Okay? Most of the 10 markers require explanation of mechanisms, and that is very difficult to write. But if you can maintain the space in terms of right side for map, left side for points, and next on the next side, on the next page, you are going to write the second explicit demand, the major factors determining its success. Okay? If you can write this, well and good. Okay? Yeah. You have to write the statements concisely. Don't over-explain things. Okay? If you want to start writing, let us say this particular answer. Okay? Let us say you want to write this particular answer. So you can explain the onset of monsoon by respective stages. What are those stages? Northward movements. First of all, low pressure in northwest India and Tibetan Plateau. Yes. Then northward shift of ITCZ. Then southeastern winds crossing equator. Turning rightwards due to Coriolis force and now taking the shape of southwestern monsoon winds, now becoming southwestern monsoon winds. Then mascarene high pushing southwestern monsoon winds. And then you can talk about the jet streams. Okay? But I would say that save the jet streams for the next part. Save the jet streams for the next part. Okay? Save the jet stream for the next part. Jet stream is fairly simple. It is saying factors determining. Take the screenshot if you want to. Take the screenshot if you want to. Okay? Can I move on? Okay. Moving on. Factors determining. Think about all the phenomena that happen around this to ensure that Indian monsoon becomes successful. Superb, superb. Do tell me the heat gradient is a big factor, yes or no? In terms of if the high pressure is very high and the low pressure is very low, the heat gradient is determining the pressure difference here. Yes. So the heat gradient means if there is a very high temperature in the summer, there is a huge possibility that the monsoon is going to be extremely, like it is going to cause extreme rainfall. Okay. Or the heat gradient is a factor. Then talk about the Arabian Sea warming is one such factor. In the recent past 5 to 10 years, Arabian Sea is seen to be getting a lot, like its temperature is seen to be getting a lot hot. Okay? A lot hotter in terms of in comparison to Bay of Bengal. Okay? So that is also pushing the monsoon inside India. Okay? Apart from that, that Indian Ocean dipole is there. But before that, prioritize this point. INSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. Okay? So if let us say there is El Nino, if El Nino is there, okay? If El Nino is there, so it is going to be, the monsoon is going to be weak. But if it is La Nina there, it is going to be strong. Okay? If you do not know the El Nino and La Nina, no need to worry. You are going to read this. Okay? In the your GS1 classes, that answer writing discussions, the particular faculty is going to pick up these common topics so that you can learn them. Okay? Now, Indian Ocean dipole is one such reason. Some ocean current jet streams are now one such important reasons. Okay? Ocean currents are also going to play an important part in terms of deciding the low pressure or high pressure, let us say. Low pressure or high pressure, they are going to determine. In the ocean part, they are going to be a very important factor in terms of deciding the low pressure and high pressure. Okay? Superb. One such Madden-Julian oscillation is also there. These are phenomena of geography that determine the rainfall in different parts of the world. And Madden-Julian oscillation is one such phenomena. This is the homework for you. You are going to read about the Madden-Julian oscillation. Okay? This is the homework. Chalo. So, how many of you do understand the demand of the answer now? How many of you now think that the demand has been fulfilled? Yes? Superb. Superb, superb, superb. Upper tropospheric circulations are going to be there. Okay. But what you are writing now, upper tropospheric circulations, next question, they are going to be very important. Next question. And the time starts now. Last 10 seconds. Time's up. What is the type of question? Type of question. What is the type? Directive, explicit demand, then followed by directive, explicit demand. Okay. You can just write down there are two directives, there are two explicit demands. Okay. As simple as that. Okay. Now, what is the topic? Fairly simple. In geography, the topic is very clear. Okay. Topic is fairly clear. Topic is tropical cyclones. Demand. Question is explain. The phenomena is given. The directive word is explain. How exactly are you going to write this? Okay. You are going to explain the mechanism. This particular phenomena is dependent upon some factors. There are some factors that determine the occurrence of tropical cyclones, yes or no. So you are going to write down the factors and their role. Is it a yes or is it a no? Can you do this? Factors and their roles. Yes. Chalo. Then explicit demand, reasons for their increased frequency. Reasons. Discuss. So reasons for increased frequency. Most of the reasons are what? What are the kind of reasons? Most of the reasons are what kind? Tell me. Yes. Most of the reasons are geographical reasons. Okay? Geographical and some of the reasons are okay, geographical, meteorological. Okay. What is the role of discuss here? What is the role of discuss here? What is the balancing argument that I want you to discuss here? Not the impact. Balanced approach I want, and understand one thing. The accelerated frequency is mostly driven by anthropogenic or what you call man-made factors. Okay. Anthropogenic factors are the driving cause of seeing the increased frequency in India. That is very clear. But the natural trigger is always going to be there. The natural trigger is there and that is only getting intensified. Do you understand that? India is very, very cyclone prone. Okay, especially the eastern coast. Okay. But now the western coast is also not safe. Okay. The reason being very simple. Eastern coast was already prone due to natural reasons. Western coast now prone due to the man-made reasons. Is it a yes or is it a no? Arabian Sea ka increase hua na, temperature has increased and that is mostly driven by a man-made factors. Yes, superb. Okay. Now, can you write the answer on your own? Give me a thumbs up if you can write the answer on your own. Give me a thumbs up. How many of you guys are now confident that whatever subject you have covered, now you can write down the answer confidently? Because that is the only thing, that is the only requirement of this foundation course. Now, can most of you write? Superb. That was the motive of launching the answer writing foundation course, and I'm very happy to see that you guys are doing great. Superb. Chalo, next question. India's population is not a boon but a bane. Not a boon but a bane. Tell me. Comment. Timer has already started. Only the serious ones. Most of you that are attending the class live are serious ones. Most of you are not attending the class. Some of you are serious, most of you are non-serious. And that is where you are going to get behind. Okay? That's a live learning session. Once in your entire mains preparation, once in a lifetime opportunity to learn something from scratch. Last 5 seconds. Time's up. India's population is not a boon but a bane. Type. This is what? This is a clear statement. India's population is not a boon but a bane. This one is a statement, and then comes the directive word comment. Statement, directive. Topic, Indian population, India's population. Let's talk about space management. We have not talked about this. This was something I discussed with you in the presentation class. Let's talk about the space management. (70, 30 is the space management. Okay? 70, 30 is the space management. In the comment part, do we need more number of points? What is our priority? Or is it the depth? Depth in every point or the more number of points? What is our priority? Depth is not that required in comment. Okay? Comment is a non-analytical directive word. The focus is number of points. Giving a balanced opinion. Okay? Not a very balanced, but giving both sides, choosing one in the last. Okay? This is the directive of comment. Giving both sides, choosing one in last. Okay? Chalo. Now tell me the demand. Not a boon. First of all, can you write, is it a boon? And it is a bane. Boon means काइंड ऑफ पॉजिटिव, ठीक है, इट इज अ वेरी पॉजिटिव थिंग. इन हिंदी वी कॉल इट वरदान, ठीक है, एंड बेन मीन्स श्राप. वरदान मीन्स यू आर गेटिंग समथिंग, some kind of power, some kind of wish come true from the gods, ठीक है. So boon is that wish come true, bane is that shrap, that negative thing that you get, ठीक है. Okay, is there any implicit demand? You are taking the side, ठीक है. In the last you are taking the side that you can call it in one way, you can call it the implicit demand, ठीक है. But there is no such very not a very clear implicit demand here, ठीक है. You are taking the side, taking the right opinion, that is the implicit demand, ठीक है, but not very clear implicit demand. Do tell me, intro, India's population, what should be the type of intro? In the data type, what should be the focus? What is the kind of data that I want to use to show something about India's population? Just numbers? Just number that India is the first in the entire world? Just this particular thing? Population census? Okay. Can you talk about India is not just the most populated? You can use the report or a data that India's population is nearly 150 billion now. 1.5 billion now. Okay, 150 crores now. But one of the youngest countries also. Out of all the major countries with large populations, India is one of the youngest country where the average age of a person is 28 to 29. Okay, so this is the that is the data. This is giving the context of the question, that not just the most populated, but one of the youngest also in the populated countries. Okay. Now, boon. How is it a positive thing? If you start with demographic dividend, I am going to be very unhappy. Okay, because you are using a macro term which includes a lot of things. Demographic dividends includes a lot of things, and you are using it in the beginning, kills the scope of writing more arguments here. It will kill the scope of writing more arguments. Okay? Talk about youth. Talk about skill. Okay? Talk about innovation. Talk about entrepreneurship. Okay? Superb. Talk about consumption. The domestic consumption is so much. Can we write down these 5 points? Yes. Can we write down these 5 points? Chalo, nice. Okay. Youth, skill, innovation, entrepreneurship, consumption. What is the bane here? Pick up the bane from the youth. Youth, unemployed, unskilled, uneducated. Yes. Pick up the points that you have already written. Okay. Innovation, poor R&D budget. What is the R&D budget of India? Research and development budget. What is the R&D budget of India? Nearly 0.6 to 0.7% of GDP. Okay? Innovation is one such issue. Rote learning is the focus. How will we get the innovation? Our focus is on rote learning. Entrepreneurship, poor ease of doing business. We suffer from poor ease of doing business. Can we call it brain drain? We suffer from brain drain. ठीक है? Consumption. Lot of it is import dependent. We are not producing what we are consuming. So indirectly not building a strong economy, strong long-term growing economy. Okay? Lot of it is getting imported, like your energy, like your electronics, like your manufacturing engineering goods. Okay? Can we give a final verdict? Can this be a final balanced verdict here? Because these two are extremes that are taken. India's population can become a boon. Can we write this? Indirectly, we can write 2, 3 way forward here. Why are we giving a way forward here? The question is entirely an issue-based question. Okay? Totally an issue-based question which has come up with two extremes, not a balanced opinion. There has not been a scope of balanced opinion in the entire body part. Now you are getting a chance to write a balanced opinion while you are picking up the side. But that balanced opinion requires a way forward. Okay? Because two extremes are taken. You cannot choose a particular one cannot be chosen. Okay? So there is implicitly the scope of way forward. Okay? How to tackle Bain? Okay, we can write how to tackle Bain. We can write. Okay? Can you do this on your own? Can you do this on your own? I have given you the blueprint of it, the entire answer. Balanced Indian population increase. Okay. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Can be a big asset for its development, but balanced one. Okay. Okay. Discuss the impact of globalization on Indian society. Next question. That was also India's population was also a society question. This is also a society question. Your time has already started. Write on your A4 sheet. Write down the question. Write down the question. Write down the demand. Write down the proper breakdown. Don't miss to write the questions. I want you guys to write down the answers on yourself. That is why I'm just telling you some of the things. 20 more seconds. Last 5 seconds. Time's up. Time's up. You guys have, I hope that you have guys have broken down the entire question in subparts. Okay. Now, question is, what is the type of the question? Directive word along with the explicit demand. Impact of globalization on Indian society. Okay. What is the topic? That explicit keyword, impact of globalization. You can call it globalization. Okay. This is the topic, globalization. What is the demand? Explicit demand is impact. Just have to write down the impact of globalization. But is there any implicit demand also? Have all the countries, most of the countries accepted globalization? Has it done a wonderful job in terms of increasing the economy, increasing living standards, increasing income, everything? In terms of accepting the globalization, most of the countries have done it. Okay? Most of the countries have done it. Okay? So when we are writing the impact of globalization, we are going to show the largely a positive side. Okay? Although understand this is a phenomena which has both positive and negative sides. Even if there was no discuss, you would have written both positive and negatives. Okay? First, accept that globalization has been accepted by almost all of the countries because it is benefiting them. It is kind of pushing the modernization. Okay? Then the implicit demand is very clear. The negative side of globalization. Yes, negative side of globalization. Sure. Space management. Space management. How exactly are you going to manage the space? It's going to be fairly simple. It is 70 and 30. The question is discuss. Okay? 70 and 30. Okay? Now do tell me, there is two approaches to write this. Intro, you can write down the globalization. What is globalization? You can write down. Or if you want to write a data also, you can write a data. Okay? You have the liberty to write it. The body part. There are two ways to write it. First, the normal way, positives and negatives. Okay? In positive, you talk about economy, you talk about the education, you talk about the healthcare, you talk about the infrastructure, you talk about the housing, okay? Urbanization, okay? You talk about the technological development, okay? Everything positive you can talk about. In the negative, you can talk about the social challenges. In that, you can talk about their impact on family, institutions, their impact on community, their impact on marriage, okay? Their impact on that rapid urbanization, that push migration from rural areas, okay? All the negative sides you can write like that, okay? Table is a very good approach. Table is a good approach, but not so good because the directive word is discuss. Okay? Directive word is discuss. You can make the table. Okay? You can make the table. You can write down the positives. You can write down the negatives. Okay? There is one very good side. Okay? Just like there was a bad approach, na? Bad approach. There was a bad approach that we had read before, after, during. Okay? There is a very similar kind of approach that applies to the globalization part. Okay? I want you to think about what is the most negative part of globalization. What is the most negative part of globalization in terms of their impact on society? It pushes, yes, pestle can be applied, but not so good. Does it push the homogenization? Does it push the homogenization? The suit culture, the formal culture, the fast food, the English, the English language that we are speaking, that we are talking in, okay? Not in our mother tongues. Okay? There is another part here about local traditions. Does globalization has its impact on local traditions also? Is it a yes or is it a no? ठीक है. So during homogenization, it is eating up the local traditions. ठीक है. It is destroying the local traditions. But does it push the revival of local traditions also? The GI tags, ठीक है. The Bodo textiles that are being used in the Milan Fashion Week in Paris. Okay. The very famous Giloy medicine that we took during the COVID. ठीक है. So the eco-friendly, that leaves wala pattal that on which we eat, that leaves wala plate, that leaf plate, that is a very ecological way, eco-sustainable way. Okay, so local traditions are also getting revived, and then there is a middle path between homogenization and revival of local tradition. There is a middle path. What is that middle path? Can anyone tell me? Turmeric is good example. Can anyone tell me? There is hybridization, not the foreign culture entirely, not the local culture entirely, but the hybridization. Now, can you write down the negatives and positives here? Is this going to be a very balanced approach to write? Not just positive and negative, but a very balanced approach to write the globalization answers. Give me a yes if you think this is a very balanced approach to write the answers. Give me a yes. Okay. Chalo. Now, can you write down the answers? Can you write down the answers? I am giving you a template for writing globalization answers where you can apply this template. Okay? If it is getting applied, you can apply it. Okay? Otherwise, there are other templates also. Like stakeholder is one such template that you could have easily applied. Stakeholder. Yes, stakeholder you could have easily applied that family, marriage, women, children. Okay, child cuddling has been gone, elderly, marginalized sections. That was a wonderful approach. Okay, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. ठीक है, ऐसे approach you could have applied. ठीक है. Okay, this one we had already taken. Take this one. The last one we had already taken during the brainstorming wala session. That question we had already taken. Take this one. Critically examine the process of integration of princely states into the Indian Union. Acha, do you want this to be written as a homework? Do you want this to be written as homework? How many of you want this to be written as a homework? Yes? Yes? Okay. Superb, superb, superb. I want each one of you to write down, break down the structure, write it as a particular answer, submit for evaluation. Okay. This was your first practice session. I hope this was fruitful. You got to learn something and you are going to apply this. Okay. So if you have any more queries, I can take the queries now. Okay. Hello. So this is all. All the best. Not getting queries. Take care. All the best.